Good morning, everyone. It is Becky here at Beck's Creations, and had a request to show how I make the Christmas bulb cards. I have seen this already shown on, Instagram Shorts, Facebook Reels. There's probably YouTube Shorts. So anyway, I'm going to show how I do it. So I've got a paintbrush. I'm using this old vintage ashtray because I saw this as a use for old ashtrays is to use them as your paintbrush rest. And ever since, I keep an eye out for unique looking ones. And this one's perfect for a single brush, but I could also turn it like that and get 3 brushes across that way. But I just thought that was a handy, thrifty bit that you could do. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Natty. So I'm just going to set that off over here. Then I've got watercolor paper, and I'm using this Strathmore watercolor paper that's you get 12 sheets that are 5.5 by 8.5. And what I did is I cut them in half at the 8.5. So that makes the pieces perfect for card fronts because they are now 5.5 by 4.25. So I'm going to do 4 of them. So we'll set those up there, and I'll set the pad back away. I have paints that I'm going to just use 3 colors. Hi, Ian. Hi, Janice. And these are from a Reeves watercolor set, and I've got a thrifted watercolor palette. I got a stack of these for next to nothing. And I'm just going to put a little bit out because in watercolor, you really don't need a lot because you don't. So I'm just going to put a glob on there. That's probably more than I need. But, if you just leave this to dry, most of the time you can get it to start back up. So, and I got water. I've got a jug of water here. And put the green over here. And this one that looks more clean than the others. This tray has been cleaned. It just doesn't look it very much. So, oh, am I the only one that can't screw a lid on straight? And then you need something to make the circles. Let's see, we want that where you can see what I'm doing. Over here looks good. So these are PVC pipe that I picked up at Lowe's or Home Depot. They've been well loved. And anything that you can make a circle. So there's PVC pipe, the empty part of the middle of your tapes, Pringles lids, and then this giant one we probably won't use, but if you were making like a picture you wanted to put on your wall and you wanted to do something bigger, this is the lid off some yellow grits. So think about the lids that you get in packaging. So let's do a card. So here's the paper, and this is the watercolor paper. You really need watercolor paper for this to work good. I mean, you can do it on any paper. It's just watercolor paper's the place to go. And so I'm going to get my brush wet. So you got water right here in a thrifted container again. And I'm just going to get some water added to the red first. We'll do a red one first. Get a bunch of water in there. And then you just grab whatever you want to try. And you just put the paint on like this. And then you stick it down. Lift it up. Don't worry if it splatters. That adds to the technique. Rinse your brush out so you got mostly water. Then just wet the middle. And kind of just pull from the outside in. And just let the watercolor do its own thing. If it leaves a white spot, that's a highlight. Probably had enough paint on there to do several. So let's just do a row. Just put some on there. I really had too much paint on there is the problem. And maybe put one here. Wet your middle and let the water pull the color in. All right. I see I've got a spot I don't really want on there, but and maybe put one up higher. And you get a tissue and get this drop right there before it dries. Okay, and then wet your middle. Oh. I want to pull some in. You can just touch some color back in for darker areas. And then you set that aside to dry. That doesn't look very round right there. We'll let that one dry. Off to the side over here. We'll pull out another one. We'll probably end up getting an orange bulb now because the water is red. But it'll be all right. And we'll use maybe the bigger one here. Just tap a little watercolor around. And it doesn't really even have to go all the way around. You can put like that. A little bit more. Do one here. Maybe do one up in the corner. I'm going to rinse a little of that out and then wet the middle. That I didn't dissolve the watercolor is good. And if you're really good at watercolor, you'll leave some white areas for highlights, but I have a tendency of cheating and come back with like a white Posca. Wet that middle. Oops, stuck my finger in it. I'll look at chat here. Let me get these. I don't want to leave any blobby bits. All right, we'll set that one aside to dry. Uh-oh, I missed the water container entirely. And then we'll do a green one. And then maybe we'll do one with one of each color. So let's do a Pringles lid. Got to add some water to this watercolor. This will be a huge one. And I'm just putting it on the edge. Don't worry about that. That gets in the middle because it's kind of set back. We could do that. And wet the middle. Kathy, I saw you put a couple presents. Somebody put some presents under the tree. If I did that here, the cats would have them all open before Christmas. They're little sneaks. They don't wait for Christmas. See how if you do it just right and you've got water on there and then you hit that edge, it just kind of creeps to the middle. That's what you really want it to do. And then we can come back with some more green and just tap it in. Once you get enough green on there, water, it'll do its own kind of weird thing here. Let's do the other side of, actually I haven't used this one yet. So maybe we can do some small green ones, a couple small green ones. And this is where you can hide some of your boo-boos. Because we can put that like that. I don't know why I'm shaking so bad today, you guys. I don't know. I forgot to check my blood sugar this morning. Okay. Just wet the middle of the circle. Don't try to go beyond the circle or it won't do right. Tip tap some color in here and there. Tip tap, as Ellen says on her videos. Just tip tap, tip tap. And we'll set that one aside to dry. And now let's see if we can do all three colors on one. This ought to be interesting. Hi, Paula. All right, I'm going to go back to this one. I'm just going to use the same whatevers. I just went to my bin of stuff. I don't know if anybody else does the bin of stuff, but it's just stuff I've got around the house to make marks with paint. And then wet the center. And then hit the edge. After you've got your center wet, add a little bit more water so it's real soupy. Then just hit the edge and let the paint do its thing in the water. There we go. I went a little beyond. Just keep in mind, wherever you make it wet, the paint's going to go toward it, right? Because it's watercolor. And it likes water. So there's the red. And then we did yellow with this great big one here. My water's getting kind of yucky. So colors might not be true. And I'm just kind of setting the color on here. But I could imagine doing this on a long, narrow piece of watercolor paper and have a row of bulbs. And then you could use that as a Christmas decoration, frame it, pull it out each year and stick it on the wall. A little bit more water. And then just touch the paint on the edge and it'll follow the water. And you really, to get your best results again with any watercolor, it's probably best to like just leave this stuff to dry. But you can always hurry it up with a heat gun if you have one. But I would do like a tray of these and then just set them aside for the rest of the day to dry. And then you just come back in and you with a pen and you make a doodly line around each one and you give it the little topper at the top and maybe a string to the top. There's some water right there. All right, so we need to do the green one. This is the one I did the green. Hi, Peg. So let's do another green one. I'm going to bring some color down to that little bit of water I have. And then just tap the color on to whatever you're using for your circle. Maybe we'll put that one right there. And then I'm going to rinse a little bit of the color back out and then just wet the middle and hit the edge and see how it'll go where the water is. That's what you want. And don't worry about your splatters. You can actually, even after everything's dry, you can add a few splatters for like Christmas light highlights. I might drop a little color back in up here of the green. Okay. So then I'll set this one aside over here. And the first one we did is this red one. I think I want it in this orientation maybe, or like this. Let's do this one this way. And then we can put a greeting there. It's not dry enough to do the next step. So let me get my heat gun, and I'll have to step off to the side because I don't have an outlet in the middle of the room. So I'll just plug it into my industrial extension plate over here that I use on my sewing machines, because I want a super duper one for that. And it's made to use with power tools, so I think it'll be fine. And I'm just going to dry this. Jerry Bellini said, dry from the back as well as the front, and it'll dry more even. I hadn't seen Jerry Bellini in a long time. I know she was going to buy another new house, and they were moving again. So that's the last I heard from her. So I don't know if she's moved or not. This one almost looks like it's got cat paw prints in it, the way the watercolor is drying, which is kind of fitting. Watercolor really prefers to dry on its own. It doesn't like the heat tool. Okay. And then I just use a Bic pen because I feel Dee Dee's right. The Bics that are called Cristal, they go over paint really quite well. And so Dee Dee had me go buy some Cristal Bic pens. I know I have some here. Maybe I moved them. Well, we're just going to use this one. It's a Bic pen. It's not a Cristal pen. It's a Bic one. And I put drop paper down just so I'd have somewhere to clean this off. All right. So then you add your little cap at the top. And if you make like a little oval, it'll look like you can see the top. And then you can add the little S hook like that some people use. Add a few little lines like that. And then just make your string go up to the top. See? And then do a doodly line around the outside. Doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, it's better if it's not. And you can even go around a couple times like so. So do 2 lines at the top and then add an oval, a narrow oval. And then you can make a little mark and then make it look like the S hook comes through and then goes up. And then put your little lines that are always on that. And you could come in and with like a silver or gold pen, go around a few times. I think it just looks better if you go around several times instead of just one, because then the ins and outs of the sketchy line aren't as obvious. Actually, this part, let's see if I can come down closer for you guys. I'm sorry the birds are so loud. I have the catio door open next to me because Howard wants to go out, but he doesn't want to be trapped out there. That's as close as it's going to get. So We don't need this anymore. Let's move that out of the way. That might be more better. And then I do 2 little lines, about half an inch-ish, and then do a narrow oval. And then I kind of put a little mark at where the center is. That just kind of denotes that little hanger thingamabobber. And then this will go up to the top like so. Put your little lines in it like so. And then do a kind of doodly circle around a couple times. Oh, I've got a little wet over here, but that's okay. So there you go. And then you can take and maybe add a few splatters of something. I'm just going to do some yellow. And then we'll pick up some green so it looks like the Christmas lights are in there. I'm busy doing a live. He's got you. He doesn't need me. Howard's sucking up to Dad. Sucking up. And then some red. All right, so now it looks festive. Let it dry. Add your sentiment. All right. So I'll do another one. So there's that one. Let's do the yellow one. I got to step back and dry it. Mr. Scott says hi. Hi there, everyone. We're having kind of a lazy day. It's raining, or kind of overcast and drizzly off and on. So we had a late breakfast and we had jalapeno cheesy grits. They were very good. I need to go to the store and we got to visit Mother. Go make sure she's doing okay. This is her 96th Christmas. So I'm going to add to the top of this one. I'm going to do this one in this orientation. And then I do a little ovally thing. This hook doesn't have far to go. There we go. But that'll be all right. And then we'll just do a line around. And the watercolor is still a little wet over here, so that black is probably going to run. But we're just going to go with it. And then do a little line. The closer you do your lines up for the top, the farther back in the picture it'll look the bulb is hanging. At least that's my perception. A little S and a line to the top. That one must be swaying in the breeze because the line is crazy. All right, then we'll do it here. Don't worry if your tops are not all exactly perfect. I mean, it's a handmade card, for crying out loud. Just do it. You're taking the time to make the card. That should be enough said, right? I made this card for you. And then we'll do the little string to the top of the page. And voila. Now, you could, oops, I don't want to touch that one. If you wanted to add little highlights, you could do like a little hashtag in the round. So do curved hashtag like that. And that'll make it look like it's, there. And then you can add a little white here and there when they're dry. And I'm going to do some splatters. So they'll all look festive. I don't want that drop of water to fall. Oh, you're doing Painty Girls having a sale. I didn't know she was on. I didn't even look. I'm being awful because I didn't even look. But this is the time I had available, so that's why you're seeing me. Oh, and then the little yellow here and there. And that gives it just a little festive feel. And we'll let that dry. Oh, this one I've got to dry a bit. But somebody asked to see this, so that's why I'm here. And you can also, if you wanted to, you could use paint pens on top of these and make them look like they have a decoration on them. Just remember, you got to make it look like it's curved, because the bulb is round, right? So your designs all need to have a slight curve to them. Ooh, that's getting hot in my fingers. And I do think you get better results with smaller items to make the circles. The big ones, they look more modeled, but if that's the look you're going for. This is very wet in the middle, so I'm going to focus just my outside stuff on these. We're going to have a little oval on top. And then a little S hook. And drawn to the top. And go around the circle. Oh, well, keep on going because you made a boo-boo, Becky. That looks fine. All right. Now this one, you want it to be bigger, right? Bigger difference between your lines because it's a bigger bulb. And I might grab my gold gel pen and just put gold on my hangers. And then we'll come around this way. All right. And we'll do another little one up here. I'll look at chat here in a minute. And these will go in a pile and go to someone I haven't already mailed to. All right. So there's the green ones. And I'm going to add the sprinkly bits. Oh, heat gun alert. Well, there's so many people going live that I'm just going when I have time because I always feel like there's the replay, Now I know Ann will be on this afternoon, won't you, Ann? You'll be on at 5. And I don't know if Shannon's coming live today. No, she's not because she's going to a Christmas party. And she's overdone it with her crocheting. So keep her in your thoughts because she's hurt her arms again. We have to do what we have to do when we have to do it because time is limited. I mean, we've got families and things that we have to do with our families. I just like to add the splatters. I think it makes them look festive. All right, last one. Oh, this one, it's going to need some heat gun alert. This one's doing all kinds of crazy things. I don't know why. They're unique, one-of-a-kind cards. Every single one of them is different. Alrighty. Really doesn't matter if something gets on the back because I always mount my cards on black to make the card pop. Yes, Anne will be on at 5. Yep. Or you could put a bow part way. Let me, if you wanted to. You could decorate them up any old way you want to. That's the beauty of them. If you wanted to, you could just put a little bow up here. Like so. Maybe you ran out of string and you had to tie 2 pieces together just to hang the bulb. You know, back in the Depression, they did whatever they could with what they had. Maybe these are Depression era ornaments. Maybe put a little bow up here. Oh, I forgot I got to do my little circles around. Yeah, and if the watercolor is still wet and the pen hits it, you'll probably get a little bit of bleed from the pen. But I am just not going to worry about that. What, Howard?
Howard detected that someone was getting attention other than him.
Oh, is that what's wrong? No, Dad, don't pet Tippy. How could you? All right. Add our splatters. And I know that Sundays are your family's times too, and I'm not even going to clean these. They're just going to go back in my bin. So there'll be color on them for later. I don't want a big bubble of water to drop on the page. I start my splats off the page and then bring them in. That way I don't get a big blob hit right in the middle of the card. Oh, is it Whimsical Garden? She did a little bit, came up on my Instagram feed, and she was out doing, looked like on her patio, doing tile work on heart-shaped. Hi, Ray D. And then she panned out into her garden, and in the tree that's right by her patio, she has teacups and teapots hanging in the tree. And I thought, how cool would that be to find teapots at the thrift store that don't have their lid anymore, and I could hang them in the tree out there, and maybe the birds would build nests in them. So guess what Becky's going to look for, thanks to Whimsy Garden. All right, so Scott's getting his meds. So if you hear a jingle, 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 that's him getting his meds. I got mine already. All right, so let me show you all 4. I'm not going to mount these because I'm going to let them dry. And there's the green one, which you can't really see very well. We need to back out just a little bit. And how cool would it be if I found some nice colorful ones to hang out there? Makes me want to go thrifting. I'm just backing this back out so that I can get all 4 in the picture. There's one. Go down, Becky. There's one. There's 2. I'll put these on a tray and put them up where the cats can't get on them here in a minute. And you can add other things like little like confetti in the background, little marks with maybe a paint pen or something. You can decorate these up any old way you want to. So that is what I promised I would do. So there you go. This one is going to get some decorating once it's totally dry, and I'll post it on my community tab and maybe over on Facebook in my Facebook group and on Instagram. If I do that, it'll be everywhere. But because this is drying kind of weird, I feel like I'm going to need to add some decorations to it with maybe just a black and white pen. All right. Thanks for being here, you guys. Have a wonderful Sunday, and good luck with your preparations for Christmas. And I will see you guys later. Thank you guys so much for being here. Bye.